Hello and welcome back to the dinner table. It is just the girlies on this week's episode. How are you doing, Chloe?
Good. So good. I just want to say Cameron is in Florida
Mm-hmm.
and we've
Living his
talked
best life.
about living his best life with Noreen. And we've talked about our roles on the podcast. And I do want to say that my commitment is second to none. I was in Notre Dame last weekend with a ton of my friends
Mm-hmm.
and I did get on the pod. So I
Mm-hmm.
just want to say that.
I
Cameron,
will give you that you are extremely committed. Do you think Cameron likes the podcast the most? I think he might. He really likes the
Cam,
podcast.
Cam loves the podcast. This is what I'll say to defend Cam. He didn't really have he all of a sudden he walks in. I'm like, just to let you know, me and Carly are doing the podcast on Sunday. And he's like, oh, is that what we decided? And I'm like, yeah, well, Carly just likes to protect her little brother and said he needs to be in the sun. And why would you come in the house in Florida?
Well, Chloe, that man needs the sunshine.
I mean, he needs the sun. But I thought it was so funny. He was like, I don't even think he got a chance to decide if he wanted to come in the
Yeah.
house to run the podcast, but we just decided for him.
Yeah. Is he's coming home today?
Pretty sure.
So I guess Cameron could have been on the podcast. No,
like
but
I
he
yeah.
needed he needed a week off. He needs to enjoy his vacation
Yeah, no, he
and
did.
his
He did.
travel. Yeah.
So yeah, but no, I've been well. I had did some games this weekend. Friday, I
Hmm.
was out for the Green Bay men's game. And then Saturday, I did a Paul Marquette game. And then there's been so many good college basketball games that we're going to talk about later on in the
Yes.
show.
Yeah, going to talk about a ton of women's basketball games. How was your Valentine's Day?
It was
How do you feel
good.
about Valentine's Day?
When you're in a relationship, you love it. When you're not, it's just kind of like, okay, what are my friends doing?
Hmm.
Um, I think Valentine's Day is so fun to be on social media because all of a sudden you're
Okay.
scrolling through the stories and you're like, oh my God, I had no idea. Or like, oh my God. Like you just keep being like the next story, like they're together. Like what? And so I was having a lot of good times with that. And I texted my friends about it. And I'm like, this is crazy. Like all of a sudden you just find out all of these things on social media on Valentine's Day.
I think that's a good perspective because I feel like a lot of other people wouldn't want to be on social media on Valentine's Day.
Oh no, I don't really get affected by that stuff.
Yeah. And you're on a new journey.
I just knew that you were trying to get on to this part.
Well, no, it just transitioned perfectly because it's like my favorite subject of the week.
It is a good subject. We can flash back to the last couple podcasts ago when I
Hmm.
talked about not being on the apps.
Hmm.
Um, my older sister Carly has always been a big mentor of mine, and
Yes.
she said, "I think it's best if you get on Hinge.
Hmm.
Like, why not just try it?" And people are out there gonna think I'm really looking for a relationship. Like I'm not, but just for maybe a good time
Yeah.
here and there, or just whatever.
Few
And
dates.
so a few dates, yeah. So I committed to it.
Okay.
And I've been on Hinge now for a couple days. I did take a little day break because I got some ick. Like I was just like, this isn't for me. But I feel that I'm back on it.
Have you matched yet with anybody?
No, because I have not liked anybody's post.
Remember when one of the first people she saw was our cousin?
No, literally one of the first people I saw, not our cousin, but our
He
cousin's
was in the picture.
apparently best friend. Yeah, I was like, oh, great. So no, I haven't actually matched. I've had likes and stuff, I guess, but none that I also liked.
Okay. So you saw some people liked you.
Some people did like me.
That's nice.
Yeah, it's obviously. So now I'm just so happy Cameron's not here on this podcast because I couldn't talk about this with him.
I think he'd be so proud.
He would be proud. I do think he I don't know. I just have always felt like I'm still young enough. So
Mhm.
I just never know. But it's just actually our generation these days. This is what we do.
This is
Like
how people meet. And also, you are young, but for all you do is go out with the same group of girls every weekend. No one talks to random boys at the bar. Like you guys love each other so much, which is an amazing thing. But this is the way for you to branch out.
yeah. We do also have some good guy friends too, but none that,
Hmm.
like they've always just we've been like so close since we've been young. So it's been good.
And how are your prompts on the app?
My prompts are good. The girls took a look at the page yesterday just to give some
Really? What they
feedback.
think?
They thought it was really cute. They like the best one they like is what would you order for the table? And I said calamari for appetizer,
Hmm.
pasta for entree, and red wine for a little drink. And
Okay.
that seems to be most liked prompt
Okay. That's,
among the group and among the males out in
yeah,
Wisconsin. I
they
actually
like
made
that
it a
one.
very far radius. So Wisconsin, Michigan, Illinois, Minnesota. I mean, like,
You gotta
honestly, I
branch
just put
out.
the entire Midwest. It could have gone East Coast, but I didn't get that far
No.
in the mile radius. So
Well, you are bound to find somebody.
yeah, so we'll keep in touch with that. Again,
Yeah.
when it happens, it happens. It's not a force.
No, it's not a force. None of it's a force. It's fun. I told her I was maybe going to sign her up for the Bachelorette or Bachelor, but she wasn't into that. So
It's
we'll stick
not
with the
me.
apps for now. Speaking of food, this is what I had yesterday at my Valentine's Day dinner. We went to Naples 15, an Italian restaurant. We got for an appetizer margarita pizza.
Big
Uh,
backs.
yes. The garlic bread was amazing. And then we both got pasta. I feel like you say pasta, but I like never get pasta for an entree, and it was the best decision of my entire life. It was,
Especially, yeah. Sometimes it's just the moment. And at Naples
mhm,
15, great Italian restaurant, you have to get pasta.
yes, and then cannoli for dessert.
Wow.
Yeah, we had a big miss on the dessert, but everything else was good.
You didn't like the cannoli?
No,
It's a give or take. Like it just kind of depends. Like what was it, pistachio or just
it was
chocolate?
strawberry, no chocolate, but it was the cheese was like chunky, not smooth. It was kind of like cottage cheese like vibe. So,
Okay.
yeah. But it's like a 10 out of 10 restaurant. If you are ever in Madison, go to Naples 15. It's amazing.
If you were to say like I know this answer, this probably is a dumb question, but who is like more romantic out of the two of you?
Chloe, who do you think is what do you think is the answer?
But this is for the public. It's not for me.
But what do you think is the answer?
You.
Yeah. Okay. But
Jake
Jake,
it it's
yes.
not that Jake isn't romantic. He's just
No.
a dude.
He's
Like,
such a dude. That is,
yeah.
yes. Yes, he just needs like a few reminders for like cards and stuff like that. Like some of that more romantic stuff. But in general, he does a great job. Got
Yeah.
some beautiful flowers, candle,
And he really is
teddy
the
bear.
sweetest.
I mean, he's the best. Couldn't ask for anyone better. But it is funny. I'm definitely more romantic. I love all of that stuff. I'm the type of person who's like, let's just like stay in and like just talk about like let's just ask each other questions about our relationship. And we'll
Yeah.
do like three. We'll do like three. And he's like, so is that good then for now? I'm like, no.
Wait, did you see the hot mess episode with Braxton and Alex asking
I
each
didn't.
other questions?
I saw like a clip.
Really good.
Really?
Cute. Yeah, they're cute. Good questions. Like that's a good podcast to take those questions away and like ask your partner.
Yeah. They're
Yeah.
cute.
So I thought that was good.
Hmm.
So fun. Should our pick and pop three be best Valentine's Day gifts?
For sure. That'd be good.
Yeah.
That'd be good. Should we do it now?
Sure. You're the host.
You're kind of the host too. You need to practice because I'm not going to be on next week, so Chloe's going to take over some hosting duties.
Yes.
Um, oh wait, pick and pop three best Valentines. Like, what would you want on the day?
Mhm.
Okay, so
I
want to kick
think,
it off?
yeah, because sometimes I think boys, like men, have like a hard time with this. And for some reason, I don't see it being a hard time. I think both of us we're not really into like the big gifts, I would say.
No, we're going to be so similar, like we are in every pick and pop three, where we say the same stuff.
Yeah.
Um, but okay, go ahead. What's
I'll
your
go to,
number
yeah.
one?
I mean, number one, obvious to me, flowers, but I'll be kind of specific. Like, I don't need, like, I need a little thought behind it. I would love an arrangement of some sort, an order to the house prior to. And I think it is really cute to like go to the store, pick out flowers, but I don't need it on like your drive home from work just to make sure you get them to me.
Okay. So you like an arrangement ordered in the future, in the
Yeah,
prior.
like I just like the thought of the fact that he thought about the order,
Yes.
you know?
Yes. Totally, totally agree with that. I think like flowers, you don't realize like how important it is. Like you need the flowers every single time because I feel like girls kind of complain about the other things, but like realistically, like flowers is the big thing. So I agree
Need
that
flowers.
you need flowers. And like I think we should all be like a little bit more like thankful like that we are
Yeah,
getting that we're getting the flowers.
totally. Totally. Cause it is like it's a big thing. Yeah.
It's a big thing. Okay, so I agree with you, but I think my number one, it's gonna have to be the card
I know.
because I just think Valentine's Day is a good excuse to just, it doesn't have to be a long card, but a good excuse just to say, how you feel.
How you feel.
Makes it
And
a
you
little
like,
bit more meaningful and personal.
yeah, totally. I
But
wonder
that's
what
so me.
Cameron's
That's so me because I like love that kind of stuff.
words of affirmation. Mhm.
Hmm.
I
Yeah.
wonder what Cameron's card to Noreen was this
Hopefully something.
year. We'll check them.
Yeah, we'll check on him. Okay.
Okay. Number two, I love a Valentine's Day dinner. There needs
Yep.
to be some dinner planned, something that night, even with the children. There needs to be a babysitter. Like there's some time for that.
Valentine's Day is not just one day. Like if it's during the week, you're also celebrating on the weekend,
Totally.
you know?
Yeah.
So I agree. I agree with the dinner. Um, okay, my number two, I can always go for a good chocolate of some sort.
Okay.
Chocolate covered strawberries, like
Mm,
flowers, chocolate card, boom. Perfect. That's what I
solid.
love.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So I would say I'm not like, I don't think the chocolates are overrated. I think I would love that. I do love that.
Yes. Okay, my third one. So obviously I love the dinner date. Um, I'm just gonna do like timing. Okay, so like my pick and pop three is like there's some timing to Valentine's Day. Like I
Hmm.
mentioned, like the thought of the flowers getting there, but there's some timing to like the message. Like I would love like before you go to work, like you're
Hmm.
already mentioning it. Like you know what I mean? And I don't want
For
to be high
sure.
maintenance. This is maybe like an early on relationship. We haven't been married for a long time. Like at that point, it gets a little bit different. But like I would like to be like right in the morning. Like there's no forget about it. There's no I'm questioning if he remembered
Yes.
the
Like you
timing.
wake up in the morning before work and you have the things out there that are saying Happy Valentine's Day, the flowers, all that stuff is like
Yeah. So I would say timing is part of the gift, in my opinion.
totally, totally, because it's the thought. Valentine's Day is the thought that goes into it.
It is. And Giggy, our uncle, was just kind of saying like
Yes.
he
He's
always
all
gets
about the
us.
timing.
He's always about the timing. He sets the standard very high
Hmm.
because he has always gotten us a Valentine's Day gift, and he always thinks that it's important for boys that to get their mom Valentine's Day gifts.
Yes.
He says
Totally
that
agree.
that is very important. So
Totally
credit
agree.
to him.
Okay. My last thing going off of that, like not so much the gifting because we already did that. Like I'm really like I don't feel like I have a high standard with the gifts. Like I just like
Mhm.
the small thoughtful things. Flowers, chocolate, card, perfect. But going off of that, I just like when the guy like takes charge. Like I don't
Okay.
want like for what you're doing for Valentine's Day, like I don't want to be like, so what should we do on Saturday for Valentine's Day? Should we celebrate it? I want it to be like, hey, I made this reservation. We're going to this comedy show and then we're going out to dinner to celebrate Valentine's Day. Like, just, I feel like it's really important to the girl. And I think it kind of like, you don't feel as special when you're planning it or when you're
Totally.
like even planning it together. So I just think it's nice for it to be taken off your shoulders and have the guy plan something that means
Such,
something to
yeah,
you.
such a good one. My last thing is, did you get Jake anything?
I did. And he's funny because he's like, you don't have to get me anything for Valentine's Day. Like, you know, I don't, I think he, I don't really think he cares about Valentine's Day. I think he loved going out to dinner and stuff like that. But I
Totally.
got
Yeah.
him a bro mask,
Oh
face
yeah. Okay.
mask.
Yeah. You told me about that.
Yes. And chocolate.
Yeah, I think it's so nice. I think it's like it is about like Valentine's Day is for the girl,
Hmm.
but like it's like so true that you just like you also have to get your husband or boyfriend
Yeah.
something as well. Yeah.
Yeah. I do
Okay,
have to say
great.
too,
Oh wait.
Valentine's Day falls right in the middle of Jake's busy season. So he gets extra points because this man is like in over his head in work and stuff. So
Good for him.
I appreciate him this
He's
time of year.
the guy. He really is.
Okay, so props to Jake. That was our Valentine's Day segment. All right,
Yes.
should we start talking about some basketball?
Yeah, I need to get into the college basketball stuff. This day was so exciting. This weekend was so exciting.
So much fun. Let's start by talking about the top 16
Mhm.
that they released today. They did this for the men's side too. Just saying, an early bracket. But so top 16 for the women, and is it kind of like an NCAA tournament preview, like what they would be ranked if the season ended today?
Yes, and the thing is why it's so important for women is because the top 16 get home court advantage for the first two
Okay.
rounds, which is a big deal. So for men, that's not the case. So top 16, they announced it on College Game Day, Auburn versus Alabama with the men. Awesome. Totally great to see where you are. But then for the women, it's like, oh, this, like, I'm so happy we're here. Or are we teetering on the bubble? Like, it would be great to have home court advantage.
So does anything stand out to you about the top 16?
So at first, no. Okay. At first, no. Then we had a game today, UConn
Okay.
versus South Carolina.
Okay.
And we can talk about this now because
Yeah.
in the beginning of the year, we posted, or beginning, yeah, I guess of January, we posted a TikTok of who I thought was going to go to the Final Four. And I didn't put UConn in it because at the time they did not play like
Hmm.
a Final Four team. They didn't have the pieces coming together. They were just trying to figure themselves out. Still, Paige was the guy, the girl. Okay. And today, turn on the South Carolina UConn game. It's after the seeds have been announced. UConn doesn't care at all. Rebecca Lobo also said that UConn could care less about what they got in the seeds
Well, what
because
they
they're
get?
a 2 seed. So they're not considered a 1 seed. And
Okay.
the last time UConn wasn't a 1 seed, it's pretty rare.
Okay.
Okay. So okay. So, anyways, they come out today and they were right from the jump. Like it was
Hmm.
actually an unbelievable team to watch.
Hmm.
And it was the true UConn. Like I texted Jordan King and I was like, this is UConn. Like when people talk
Was
about
she
why,
up watching it?
well, it was afternoon. So it was just nighttime
Oh,
for Jordan.
okay. Okay. Sorry, she's
Um,
overseas. I was just curious what.
yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
go
no,
ahead.
because it was a noon game, so it was early. Um, I'm just like, this is what UConn is. Like when we played UConn 3 times a year, like
Yeah,
this is what they bring to the table.
right.
And the storyline was Paige Becker is going to step up against a top 10 team. She hasn't had the
Mhm.
best games against top 10 teams. Today, she was out and aggressive right away, but her other teammates were the ones that I was like shocked by
Hmm.
because
Easy
I'm
Fudd.
like, yes, AZ Fudd, like she has come into her own now. She's kind of a lot more healthy. Um, she finished with 28 points. She had 23 in the second half. So
Mhm.
just phenomenal shooting effort by the entire team. They couldn't miss anything, but I think it's because of the way they pushed in transition.
Okay.
I think that was a big focus for them. South Carolina is obviously a very good rebounding team. They'll send a bunch of people in there to rebound. And so that's hard to get back in transition. South Carolina is usually the team that gets out in transition, and UConn does a phenomenal job as well. But today they killed them on the fast breaks. UConn did. And a lot of them fast break threes, fast
Yeah.
break post ups, fast break easy layups. Like there wasn't anything challenging in the fast break. It didn't look like it came easy to them. I mean, Paige finished with 10 assists. She only had 10 points when UConn was already up by 30 and 3 minutes left in the game. So she didn't score a ton, but her production overall, I mean,
Yeah.
she was efficient, 10 assists, like seven some rebounds, phenomenal. But like Ashlyn Shade, Sarah Strong,
Yeah.
a freshman, even minutes by KK Arnold getting on the floor, like Janae Elfie, like
Hmm.
she played phenomenal, the best game she's ever played. So to me, it just looks like the pieces are coming for UConn. Obviously, I'm not going to go back in time and say they should be in the Final Four because I still think the top 4 teams and South Carolina is going to turn it around. I still think those teams deserve to be a Final Four, but they made a national championship statement today saying they could be one of those teams for sure, without a doubt.
So AZ Fudd finished with 28 on 6 of 10 from three. crazy numbers. And then I don't know if you saw her oh sorry, her post game interview with Holly Rowe.
Yeah, I saw a little bit of
She
it.
she is a doll.
Yeah,
Like
she's so
I
cute.
just want to be friends with her. Like she was so appreciative, just so sweet. I don't know. She just like she seemed so nice. I feel like she's someone everyone wants to root for, especially with her injuries.
Yeah, totally. And like now she feels like she's definitely coming back into her own. Like that's what she does. She shoots the ball. The first three shots she missed, but she didn't stop. And then after that, it was like bang, bang, bang. Like she had all the confidence. She was just playing like herself, which you hadn't seen in a long time. And a lot of people say like early on in the season, even after that clip I made, it was like Paige has Sarah Strong, Paige has AZ. But at the time, it was Sarah Strong's a freshman. You're not sure how she's going to compete against
Mhm.
some of the big dogs. And then AZ Fudd hadn't been herself. But today, totally different.
Yeah. After the game, John Staley did a post game interview and she said, we got to keep the main thing, and talked about how sometimes when you lose like this, it's not so much about what's going on the court, more so could be like what's going on off the court. So we got to figure it
Interesting.
out kind of thing. I don't think she was like implying there's something going on off the court. She was kind of like, it could be like, we got to figure it out. We got to talk, whatever. Um, yeah, so I thought that was interesting too. And I don't know, as a college basketball player, do you agree with that? Like they just didn't look themselves. I don't know, like the announcers
Yeah.
were just surprised by their defense and everything, how they came out in front of, especially in front of their home crowd. And let me just add on to that
Mhm.
before you answer that. They won 71 straight home games before this.
Yeah.
That's insane. So, I mean, they don't lose at home and they don't lose like that.
No, and like so I mean, for Don Staley to say that to me, like there's just some lack of focus. It doesn't mean that there's something
Okay.
going on, but like we she to me is saying like we're not bought in to like what we need to be bought into in February. And I
Hmm.
said this on the broadcast yesterday against Marquette, or in the Marquette broadcast. I was just saying like everyone talks about March being the month. Like we need to play well in March. Like we're getting to March, whatever. February is really the most important month because this is like the
Totally.
testing month. Like everyone's tired, you're exhausted. It's the end of your conference season. You've had some losses now, you face adversity. Like this is when you need to be the most focused. And I definitely think that maybe they've lost some of that. UConn has every time I've played them in February, it's a completely different team than you played them in December. They have
Okay.
always had this like mentality where they have another
Gear.
level to get to, another gear to get to. And it's amazing that they have it because you just think that they like have maxed out in their capacity of talent.
Hmm.
And then all of a sudden it's like you hit February, even going into March, and they're another completely different team that you got to
Hmm.
re-prep for and reconsider things. So we talked about that a lot, that they're just different at this time of the year. And AZ Fudd said their practices get a little bit more intense. Their
Yeah.
focus is a little bit more on what's the end goal and that kind of thing. And you could totally tell. And I think that Dawn Staley is touching on the fact that they didn't have that type of focus.
Yeah. Interesting. And I think that also has just a ton to do with Gino. Um,
Mm-hmm.
all right. So let's just keep on this women's basketball topic. A great matchup. I think it was Friday night, February 13th. So it
Mm-hmm.
was Thursday night. And it was UCLA against USC, the number one team against the number six team. And USC comes out with the win 71-60. And I feel like everyone's been talking about Juju Watkins for a while, but to see her on this national stage against the number one team, I feel like she cemented a name for herself because everyone on Twitter was almost talking about her like they talked about Caitlin Clark last year. Like I know her name has always been up at the top, but like now I feel like it's getting to like if Juju's playing, we're watching. Kind of like that Caitlin Clark effect last year. Did you feel
Yeah.
that same way just for her to have a game like this against a top team?
Yeah, totally. I was kind of like off Juju for a little bit,
Yeah.
and coming up to this game, I just felt like anytime she didn't have a good scoring effort, her attitude was completely
Yep.
different. And so I do want to say that all of a sudden she has a good scoring game and now like her attitude's all back. So she
Mhm.
definitely has some fluctuation with her mental side of the game, as only a sophomore. So I totally understand that. Um, However, she was absolutely phenomenal.
Hard word.
She was absolutely phenomenal. And there was And it's so true. She draws in the crowd like the Snoop Dogs, the Michael Jordans, the Jaden, what's his name?
Um,
Sorry, what?
Daniels, Jaden
Yeah, Jaden
Daniels.
Daniels.
Yeah, you had it.
Um, yeah, Jaden Daniels. I mean, Cheryl Swoops, Cheryl Miller. Like it's just like everyone was there, and it was just so cool to see in that atmosphere that she performed the ways that she did. She was incredible because she got her teammates involved and she played some defense, and her scoring came out of that.
I don't know if you see this like
Yeah,
sunshine at
like
me.
no, yeah. If you want to adjust, it'd be like great.
Okay, I think that's gonna be good for now. Okay, yeah. So Juju had 38 points, 6 of 9 from three, 12 of 26 from the floor, 11 rebounds, 5 assists. Really couldn't have a better stat line. Played 39 minutes. Incredible. I totally agree about her energy, and we've talked about this before. I noticed it against Wisconsin for the first time, and I called you right afterwards, and I was like, I was just interested to see how when things weren't going right, like I guess I was just surprised. Like I didn't know. I didn't really know that about her. Um, and I think it's also been picked up a little bit on social media too, because I saw this clip going around of her and her coach and people were talking about it. So I know she's young. That's hard. Like obviously she's a star, but I think that's going to be huge for her. And I feel like Caitlin went through a little bit of that as well. Just having to like manage her emotions. So I feel like that'll be big for her as she continues to grow as like a player and a person.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think there's like a lot of pressure on her.
Yeah.
And to perform. And when you're coming off a season like Caitlin Clark did, with the recognition that she received, how far her team went, what she's making in the WNBA, her salary, I mean, just like everything. Like it's just there's a lot of pressure to want to be that and want
Hmm.
to make an impact. And it's not necessarily the comparison. It's more so just like, I want to be that. And so now you're trying to be that with Hannah Hodago, Olivia Miles,
Hmm.
Paige Beckers, like all these other players that are also doing the same exact thing. So you come out one game and you don't have the numbers. Now all of a sudden Hannah Hodago beats you. Where last year I felt like Caitlin Clark was up here and everyone else is chasing her. And so
Yeah.
I feel like these girls are in this mix right now that like not really sure who the national player of the year is going to go to. If
Yeah.
Hannah Odago doesn't have a good end of the season, it could go to Juju. It could,
Hmm.
so it's kind of like a mix of questioning there, and that's why I think the pressure comes about having to score each game.
All right, let's talk a little bit about men's basketball, men's college basketball first. And then we'll get into the Unrivaled League too. Did you watch the Auburn Alabama game?
Yeah, I got there for the second half after Marquette DePaul. I rushed to, we went to Camp Bar and watched it as a little group.
Anything stand out to you about that game? I mean, I thought the Alabama atmosphere was great, you
Yeah,
know?
it's crazy.
Yeah, it was crazy in there, but I don't know, I was kind of in and out because I was like working while watching it, but I felt like obviously Auburn looked amazing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It was a fun game.
Yeah, I mean, it was a fun game. I don't really have too many connections with it. Like my friends all went
Yeah.
to, two of my friends went to Auburn, so they were big War Eagle. They're kind of talking trash to some of the Roll Tide fans in
Hmm.
Camp Bar, like Tiki Bar that we went to afterwards. And so it was kind of fun to see them experience it. I loved Bruce Pearl's uh pregame speech.
What'd he say?
Um, it was amazing. He was like basically explaining who acts like the number one team. And it's like when we're adversity, like we'll act like the number one team. Like when we're going through this, like we'll act like the number one team. Like
Yeah.
just kind of getting them hyped up. Like it really just like felt like a movie watching it. Um, and so I thought that was like exciting. The whole college game day thing was just like the excitement around the
Hmm.
game was awesome. And I did think it lived up to the hype because it was a close game. It
Hmm.
wasn't necessarily a blowout. There was some call, like whatever. But Auburn is, they got a lot of pieces to them. And I wish I could have watched the entire game. But they really are going to be a challenging team to beat coming up in March for sure.
Yeah, Auburn was 12 of 30 from three, but Alabama dominated the paint 40-26 inside. Auburn's largest lead was 14. I was saying during it, felt like that Marquette UConn game where um, Alabama like would get close, but they would never break that seal of like 5 to 3 points, Auburn would just push it back out. So, yeah, big win for Auburn to go into Alabama and get the victory. And then the reason why I was working so much too was because right before that game, Wisconsin played Purdue, and I don't think you got a chance to watch because
Mm-mm.
you were calling the Green Bay game. But Chloe, Wisconsin is like really good. Like this is not the team that played Marquette
It's
earlier in the
amazing.
season. Yeah. Um, just gonna pull up some stats from the game, but they go into number 7 Purdue. Mackey Arena is one of the toughest places to play in the country, and like everybody says that. It looks like my face is like
I think you need to change it before we clip something, and that's how you are.
I'm like I don't know. All right,
Okay, so
I've
much better.
I've changed locations.
Thank goodness. Okay, Wisconsin's amazing. Tell me why.
Okay, so they go into Mackey Arena. It's one of the toughest places to play in the country. Speaking of that Alabama atmosphere, Mackey's similar, but I feel like it's even like they're on top of you, this crowd.
Yeah.
Wisconsin is like 5-43 all time at Mackey. It's hard to win there. Anyways, they go into Purdue and scored 94 points. Like they are unstoppable offensively, especially from 3-point range. And it was just impressive to watch. They just have so many pieces. I think a huge turning point of the game was Kamari McGee was ejected. I don't know if you saw this, but
No.
I'm like sending you this right now just to get your live reaction on this call. So it was in the first half. Kamari McGee is the spark plug of the team. He's the sixth man. Okay, so I'm sending you this.
Okay.
Um, he's the sixth man. So this was in the first half, about 6 minutes to go, and he's trying to get around this screen, and you'll see it play out right here. And he gets called for a flagrant 2 foul and is ejected from the game from this. So you're watching it. Tell me what your reaction is.
Well, did he hit him in the naughty spot?
Well, but he didn't mean to. I mean, he's half his size. He's just guarding the guy, and the guy, like, is that a moving screen or no?
Let me see the
Some
first.
people said it's a
I got to
moving
see some
screen.
angles.
I don't think it's a moving screen, but
Let me just continue with the angles. Is there different angles I can see here?
I'll send you another one. This is fun that you haven't seen it. This was the talk of the weekend.
Wait, I'm waiting for it right now. Okay. Oh God, I haven't
You
even
think he should
seen.
have been ejected? It's
Here's
okay if
my
you do.
Okay, no, here's my thing. I don't know exactly what I think, but I do think like he's coming off the screen and like the only reason this might happen is because he's half his size. So I do kind of agree with that. But like he like punches him in the nuts. Like his arm is going right to him. And I
I
think
think
he's
he's
trying to
just
make
trying to chase.
contact.
Yeah,
I
he's
think
trying
he's
to
trying to
chase.
make contact with the screen. And like because of like his height difference, like that's where he is. So
Yeah,
I don't know how purposeful it was.
it wasn't
I
intentional. It definitely was unintentional. But like, all like that doesn't. I guess that doesn't matter. You know, if it's intentional or unintentional when being called for
Yeah,
a.
God, I would have hated. That's a tough call to make. I didn't necessarily think it was a moving screen. It wasn't. I mean, he didn't move it that much for it to be called.
Yeah,
Like, I mean, come on, there's screens the entire game that are being moved more than that. So I don't think it's a moving screen, but I do think like I don't
it
know,
says.
guys get in trouble with that all the time, especially Wisconsin guys.
Well,
I mean,
I know
Brad.
you're like Brad Davison. Brad Davison tweeted and was like, "Been there," basically.
Oh my
But
God, I'm in tears.
I'm like, no, you can't come in here because your situation is different.
Yeah, your situation's actually horrible. So, oh my God.
um, a flagrant 2 foul is an excessive and unnecessary contact that results in the player being ejected from the game. Excessive and unnecessary. Swinging an elbow excessively, making contact above the shoulders, excessive or severe contact during the dead ball, fighting. Like, no. come on, this is not a flagrant two. I think, you know, I think he could have been called for a flagrant one.
Yeah, just maybe because of like the area that was hit. I just think like, yeah, he did like kind of go in there with some contact though. Like he could have like fought to get over the screen.
Okay.
I don't, maybe he was just trying to decide, like, am I going over? Am I going under? And then just kind of ran into him and then his height. And then it just was like, I don't necessarily think it was an intentional foul. So, like, no, do I think that should have been a flagrant one? Probably, yeah. Just because I'm like, where is he going? Does he want to go
Yeah.
right through him? Like, you're not going through him. So, I don't know. So that's my take.
So super unfortunate. He gets ejected. He's so confused. Like he goes off the court. He like sits on the bench and he's just like thinks he got taken out of the game or whatever. And like they're going to shoot free throws. I think he thought it was probably a flagrant run. And they came up to him and they're like, "You have to like leave." And he's like, "Wait, what?" Like leaving the game. Um. So,
And he's
anyways,
probably such a nice guy.
oh, he's the nicest guy in the world. And like, I'm serious. He's like the energy, the everything of the team. He's the one who talks the most, like all of it. He transferred from Green Bay um to Wisconsin. It's just been huge for the Badgers the last couple of years. So, anyways, so he leaves, Purdue goes on this run. And you kind of are thinking, like, damn, that's it. And I think what's special about Wisconsin is just their ability to win no matter what this season. They withstand this run, they come back, they have an outstanding second half. Like the best half they played all season in terms of shooting. They shot like 74%. They shot 50% from three. It was like a crazy second half. So I just think what's special about Wisconsin is they aren't rattled by anything. It just feels like a team that is going to do really well in March. Like I'm watching them
Wow.
and I'm like, I can see them definitely in the Elite Eight. They just have so many pieces too.
Yeah, that's great to hear. I mean,
Hmm.
obviously, we talked about the top 16 coming out for the men as well. And in College Game Day yesterday, Jay Billis pointed out two teams that he felt like could be higher up towards March when this actually comes out. And he pointed out Michigan and Wisconsin,
Hmm.
and they had nothing but good things to say about Coach Guard and
Yeah.
what he's done for this program. They basically just say like he is a winner and no one understands how great of a coach he is, X's and O's. So
Yeah.
um,
He's
so
changed
credit to them.
everything about how the Badgers play. Like
Yeah,
they
especially because
yeah, this
just
isn't how
keep
they
going.
play in the past, you know? Like they don't
Yeah,
shoot a ton of threes. It's everything's different. And it's all credit to Greg Gard.
yeah. So that's huge. That's huge. It's a tough thing to do. I think both Madison and Purdue played horribly against Marquette, horribly. And I thought Purdue was very overrated.
Hmm.
But I think both teams have started to come around and find their pieces. And so it's good for Wisconsin to get that win.
I do think Purdue might be a little bit overrated, but we'll see. Wisconsin's got Illinois on Tuesday, so we'll see how it goes. Who does Marquette have on Tuesday night?
Tuesday's Seton Hall.
Okay.
It's who just beat UConn.
Oh
So
yeah.
coming off a big win, not a great team, have not had a good year. That was a sorry showing from UConn. They had two chances in regular time and in overtime to close it out, and they couldn't get the ball in bounds in the press. It was literally just like if Marquette isn't just going over and over and over inbound plays right now and just like will and effort and
Yeah.
whatever to get open, then I don't know what they're doing because that was like the answer to Seton Hall's win the other day.
Okay.
So
Of course, Marquette's facing a team that's coming off like this huge upset victory, but
I
hopefully
know.
they can get the win on Tuesday. All right. Let's lastly talk about this Unrivaled League. We've talked about it a lot on the podcast, but
Mhm.
I hope people watched like this one-on-one tournament because I don't feel like it was advertised enough. Maybe that's just me, but like I know all about it from you, and I don't think I was seeing it enough other places, and it was like one of the best things to watch.
I know. Like, I don't think it was shown enough either. Cause like a lot of people have just seen it based off of this podcast, actually, that I'm like in contact with. But like, otherwise, other than that, I'm like explaining it to them.
Hmm.
Um, Biggest shocker. Everyone can say this, but Aaliyah Edwards. I mean,
Yeah.
like, it just goes to show that sometimes you get put in a box. And Aaliyah
Yeah.
was out of her box. Like, she was in her bag. She wanted this. Okay, so let's give a little background. I played against Leah Edwards
I
a
was gonna
ton.
say.
We
Hmm.
had some good battles. I probably remember them more than she remembers them, but
Hmm.
just like the effort to having to box her out and front her in the post for
Hmm.
40 minutes is exhausting. Liza and I would do it together.
Hmm.
And so, I mean, she sprints hard in transition. She does everything right. When she had the ball, and this is what happens in college. When she has the ball, you have an All American to your right, to your left, in front of you. And
Okay.
she's also an All American. But your goal is to run UConn's offense. And UConn's offense is a system, and it's she catches the ball in the high post, and Paige Beckers is coming to cut off. They're running ball screens for their guards. And it's very post play when it's a very inside out game, right? That you'll get post touches, but it's not something where Leah is using that handle, shooting the ball as much just because of the other people on her side. And so I felt so impressed with her one-on-one game because it's not necessarily something you always see. She's a
Okay.
very great role player, and she excels at her role, and she's fantastic. She's also extremely skilled, but she showed that skill more than she's ever in the WNBA and in college. So credit to her. She beat Arike Ogunbowale, who to
Hmm.
me was a no-brainer on winning the one-on-one,
Really?
because of her skill. But then when you think about it, and you think about the strength of Aaliyah Edwards and Nafisa Collier and the post players that made it to the semifinals, there was only one guard in the semifinals, Arike.
Yeah.
And like, that's because of pure strength. I mean, like, I will ride and die for the bigs because I think it is the hardest thing to do is just beat on somebody the entire game,
For
like
sure.
over and over and over again. And I don't think guards understand what duty you have in that. And so then the
Hmm.
fact that they got to show their skill with it too, like sometimes post players are put in boxes, and it's not always like they need to be out of their box for games. They don't. They
Well, they
gotta they
play like
gotta
the
figure it
role
out.
player role a lot, you know?
Yeah. So I thought that was really cool to see. Nafisa Collier ended up winning. They She won 2 out of 3 games. So Aaliyah was one of 3. And I think that's a cool matchup. There was a ton of UConn versus UConn. There was Notre Dame versus Notre Dame. Like it was awesome. And 200K. I mean, that's like, she even said it. I won more than my WNBA salary in 30 minutes of play.
Hmm.
Like it's amazing what they're doing out there. So that was really fun.
She's one of my favorite players now.
Totally.
Yeah. And actually, I kind of forgot that she won. I was thinking this whole time that Aaliyah Edwards won. But you're right. We're not even talking about Nafisa Collier because like people just kind of expect her to be one of the players that wins it all. But I feel like Aaliyah Edwards was more surprising, like you said, that she was in the finals. Like people don't really talk about her at all in the
No,
WNBA.
no. I mean, she's playing for the Mystics, so she
Okay.
wasn't necessarily on a great team this year, and I can't really speak for them that too much. I didn't watch the Mystics a lot
Okay.
last summer, but yeah, so it'll be interesting to see this year who she's with. Actually, I need to confirm who she's with, but she doesn't have the same role right now as like Aaliyah Boston does,
Yeah.
or some other post players like Nafisa or Brianna Stewart. Like, she's a different player than those two, but
Yeah.
she hasn't had that role. So I would love to see her kind of, she looks like she's working extremely hard and getting back to her, and showing that off a little bit. So I thought that was good.
So Nafisa obviously is a post player, but she kind of plays it all, right?
She plays it all because she's so versatile, because she can shoot the
Yeah.
three. Like, that's what Aaliyah was doing different. Like, she was shooting it
Yeah.
from the outside that you don't necessarily see, like step backs, turnarounds. Like, that's not what
Right.
you see from her. Nafisa, like, that's what you see from her. She is like
Hmm.
turnaround jump shot queen, Dirks step, like hitting threes in people's faces.
Hmm.
And the thing that she can do the best is defend. And
Hmm.
that's to me why the post players were still in it, because she was defensive player of the year. And Enrique, like, yeah, she can play some offense, but can she defend as well? Not
Yeah.
as well as Nafisa.
Yeah.
So I think that was a big game changer for her. But yeah, Nafisa she's so skilled. She's just so slippery, like with her
Yeah.
movements, and like, yeah, so she's fun to watch. But I do have a proposal for
Okay.
Unrivaled.
Yeah. What do you think?
I would love if Unrivaled did a TBT tournament. So like how the men
Hmm.
do TBT for college basketball, they bring back their alumni.
Oh, you want to be in it?
I would love if it was like a alumni unrivaled 3-on-3 at the college level.
Hmm.
I think that would be really fun to watch.
So much fun. Who would be your 3-on-3 team?
God, it's so hard. I mean, obviously, like Natisha Heidemann can't play in it because she's in the league. But like that would have
Okay.
been like obviously a choice for me.
So you're only gonna have
Um,
to pick people that aren't in the league. They can be overseas.
okay, so my 3-on-3 team, you could have 6 players though.
Oh, okay. Well, just pick your three.
I would put Jordan at the 1. And like this is my thing. Like Liza and Louie are phenomenal post players.
Hmm.
Erica, a phenomenal post player, but that's my position. So
Right.
I gotta put myself there.
Okay.
Not, and we can't have a couple post
You
players.
need
We
a
got to have
really
another.
good shooter.
We have to have another guard.
Yeah.
And I'm taking Selena Lott in that
Okay.
position.
Okay.
Like she to me is a very good guard,
Hmm.
especially in the 3-on-3 league. She's quick. She can shoot it. She can finish. She can come off ball screen. She can pass it. Like
Yeah.
she's a good guard to me. I got to go with Jordan at the 1 just because I got to go with it. We have too much chemistry on the court.
Yeah.
But yeah, obviously I would take my other post players. Like they're phenomenal, but I think
Yeah.
I'm going to take myself first.
Well, yeah. Yeah. Wow. That I would love it. I could come off the bench if needed.
You could. Um, you definitely could. Yeah. No, I could put a lot of people on that bench. I mean, like, talk about good shooters. Like Izzy could definitely come back and make a difference at the 3-on-3
Totally.
league.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. What are you doing tonight?
Gonna watch NSL at SNL 50 because
Same.
mom is looking forward to it. She got off the
Okay.
plane. I picked her up and she's like, I am just can't wait to watch SNL 50.
Yes, that's how Jake is too. He's been talking about it all week. So hopefully it lives up to the hype.
Yeah, can't wait.
All right. What a fun
What are
little
you doing?
time. The same exact thing. We're eating this sausage thing that Jake made. So good. It looks so good. And then watching that. So and then I have off
Perfect.
tomorrow, which is wonderful. And I have nothing going on, but Jake said I need to get my TSA pre-check. So I have to be off to the Staples
And
to
Jake said,
sign up for that. He's been telling
Jake
me
said,
forever, but I have clear.
so do
I
I.
have a ride or die clear, but it doesn't always fly because they don't always have clear.
Exactly.
So that's it from me.
And that's it from the dinner table.
All right. Thank you so much for watching and listening. We'll see you next week.
Bye.